So,
What?
okay.
Oh, did
Nobody
you?
reminded me to press the record button.
Oh, well, I meant to do that, but I was too busy fumbling with my own stuff there.
So you haven't
Anyways,
found a book that helped you, that
I
you thought
found,
really represented.
yeah, because people are oftentimes too nice when they write these kinds of books, and this is not a sweet journey. And I was going to put in the parts that I was missing. It
Yeah.
or that were missing from the other books anyway. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know if I want to reopen that wound or just
It's,
let it sleep.
I think about, I mean, there's probably a lot of anger involved and a lot of, I mean, anybody who's a caregiver, you love the person and you're giving care, but you're also doing that. I can't take anymore. Like,
Exactly.
yeah. And
Please,
you're
God,
right. I
take
think
me
people do
tonight.
sugarcoat it.
Yeah. Well, as far as when I was, it seemed like I was the only person that was ever screaming at my husband, but I
That's
won't
okay.
go
You
into
didn't remember.
Yeah.
that other way. Yeah, that's the only thing I have in mind right now. I just want to gather information in case I, you know, light a fuse under my butt and get something done.
Yeah, I'd like to light a fuse under your butt for you. Now, I am
You mean
thinking
in a
that
good way?
in a good way, absolutely. It's because otherwise it'd be a foot in my butt, in your butt. Um, Thinking about what you said, which is that people do tend to sugarcoat it. And I think a lot of people read these books and they think, that's not what I'm experiencing. I'm a bad person because, honest to
Oh
God, I'm ready to clock him one. And, it's that type of thing where I know I feel better if somebody else shares those times that they're not their best, because we all have times when we're not our best. And you read these accounts and everybody's so nice and everybody's doing the right thing all the time. And what people need to see in order to feel like they're not alone is those times when you do screw up, when you do lose patience, when you are ready to give up, because they're going through it too. And if nobody's mentioning it, they think that they're the only one. And I think people need to know there's somebody else going through that. And so that's, as we say in Boston, that's wicked important.
yeah. Yeah. Well, when I was in a support group with this and I brought up some of my out of the ordinary experiences with my husband, one of the facilitators said, Kate, you're scaring people. And I'm like, well, this is what goes
It's
on.
scary. It is scary though.
It
Of
is.
course it
Well,
is.
yeah. I mean, sometimes you're like looking at yourself from outside going, what am I doing? But I think, and this is going to be when, especially with memoir, is you're going to touch some parts of you. Is that a gesundheit? Gesundheit. We say Godzilla because it's non-denominational. Godzilla. It's the scary part is you're watching yourself not be in control, but you're also in circumstances that are sometimes beyond your control. So how do you cope with that? But the other thing is when you're writing memoir, if you're doing it right, you are going to touch those parts of yourself that are very oh, that sounded dirty, that are very sore. I mean, the parts of yourself that you don't want people to see, or maybe you're not at your best moment. And I think those are the parts that people really appreciate the most. And I'm also going to say, yeah, maybe not too much TMI, especially if the statute of limitations hasn't gone by. But but
It has.
okay, we're good. Somebody, I don't know. My little brother told me not to ever count on the statute of limitations. He's a cop, so,
Well,
so
okay.
yeah.
Point
But
taken.
but I'm sure you were not beating your husband, so I think you're good.
Okay, well, we'll see.
Barbara, can I just sum that up?
Sure.
I mean, because I have wondered, why do I want to tell? Wait, where are you? I just see
There,
that. I
right
want to
there.
see.
See, it's not just me.
No, it's I think when people don't turn their mics off, then if there's ambient noise even, it'll just put their picture up. So I'm going to find Barbara and pin you so I can see you as well as everybody.
Didn't know you could pin
No,
that.
I think these kinds of interrogations of ourself and our motives are really important because it's a lot of work to do this. It's not easy work. So I have actually been thinking about this a lot. Why do I want to do this? And then to tie in what you were just telling Kat, I think it's important to be witnessed. I don't think that what I have to share, I would feel so deeply if I had had somebody to talk to when I was going through it. So I still want to be witnessed. And
Mhm.
then what you were saying about other people feeling like, oh my God, I'm a horrible person because nobody else seems to have had this experience. So they want to be witnessed too, which makes this really important if you take it from that perspective, I think.
I think so. And I think part of, for me, part of the memoir is that you don't, if you've been through something good or bad, you want to share that experience. But particularly if you've been through something really hard, if you've got anything in you at all, you don't want it to be that hard for the next person. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm with you. Joan, what are you going to write about? You got to unmute yourself.
I'm
Hey.
sorry. I'm so good at this Zoom thing. Um, well, I too am working on several projects, and a very wise woman told me I should hold off on the memoir till I get some of the other stuff done,
Yes.
Barbara. Uh, I actually had started writing about my mother, who is a very interesting character. You might know that, Barbara. I
I
think you knew
do.
my mother.
Fairly
Should
well.
full
Yeah.
disclosure here?
My sister.
My, my little sister.
I think so.
Um, and I actually had written something when I went back to school a few years
Uh-huh.
ago, and it was pretty well received. But I'd like to continue it, and
Uh-huh.
maybe just for me. I don't know. I don't know if it's just for me or just to turn it into something. But she was such an interesting character, and I think, and we've talked about this. It's like how many times have we thought, oh God, I wish I had asked mom about this or that.
Yes.
So
Uh-huh.
many times, and I want to write things down for my son,
Right.
uh, who doesn't believe half the stuff I tell him, but I think he still needs to hear it.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
he
And
doubts
actually,
us.
I
He
know
does.
a lot of the stuff that when you were on the road as a comic, you probably shouldn't tell, but you probably have some wild stories from then too, which
I
might be fun for some
well,
of
I
us.
I I don't filter well, and so I have to be, and I'm more careful than I used to be. But
Uh-huh.
pretty much anything that happened during the day came out on stage.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's good and sometimes that's bad. Now that the kid is older, I have been told what I'm not allowed to say on stage about him. There
Yeah.
are bigger rules. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I guess so. The road was fun. It was wild. It was the 80s when I was doing it, when comedy was really big.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I sort of feel like there are a lot of stories, but I feel like those are also my friends, and I'm not sure I would be telling tales out of school.
Yeah. So
So
that
that
brings
I'm a
us,
little bit more hesitant about. I
yeah,
don't mind telling stories about myself and how I've
right,
screwed things up over the years, but I don't want to out other people
right. Yeah.
so much. You
Probably
know,
makes sense. And I think that brings us to that part of writing a memoir where you start to say, gee, should I change names of some of these people? Do I actually say what I really felt about this person?
oh, I
Um,
think you should do that.
well, I think so, but you know, you have to, and one of the questions I see in groups all the time is, oh, should I change the names, or should I change the locations, or should I not put this in? And like, why would you go to Facebook for legal advice? Right?
Oh,
Because we know that at least half the people on Facebook are incredibly stupid, and the other half, I mean, there's like malicious people that will do the wrong thing on purpose. So, you know, it's the type of thing where if you think you're going over the line, it's a really good idea to check with an attorney. And we're not to that point yet. And for most of us, we're not going to be venturing into that territory. But for people who have been, for instance, victims of abuse, and do you name your abuser? And should you? Like, and maybe you should, maybe people need to know. But are they still alive? I have a lady who's working on a memoir about her husband, and within that memoir, she had like an entire section of this guy that really was a total manipulator, one of those narcissistic personalities. And she actually helped him start a cult without meaning to. Like,
Wow.
and so I'm reading what's supposed to be a memoir of her husband, and then at least half the book is about this cult leader. And I said, listen, you've got two books here. She was ready to publish. I totally screwed her up. Like, I'm sorry, but you've got two books here. One's about your husband, one's about this cult leader. And she says, well, he was really involved in our lives. I said, yes, but your husband disappeared for half the book. You kind of need to include him if that's what your memoir is about. And so I said, listen, you have the memoir for your husband, but you've got a hell of a business book here, because it goes back to the whole idea of getting a cult of followers and how to do that ethically as opposed to the way they ended up doing it. And so, that's a lesson learned as far as a memoir goes, which is I helped this total jerk start a cult, and a lot of people got taken advantage of. This is what happened. This is how I was drawn into the cult. This is what I realized. And here's how you can avoid it, but here's how you can do it ethically. So she's got a great book once I can get her through the memoir about her husband, if I can get her to write. So believe me, I'm kicking her butt every week. And she's like, yeah, I got some pictures. That's not going to go. Okay, Whitney.
Um, yeah, I'm curious to know if you work with people who get an agent and sell, or, what's your experience with going out into the publishing market instead of self-publishing, or just speak to those
Yeah.
two avenues.
Okay. So if you want to go traditional, you are going to need an agent. So that's like the given. And to do that, my best advice is to look at other memoirs that fit into the same type of memoir that you're writing. Go look in the acknowledgments and see who they thank, see who their publisher is, then see who their editor at the house is, but then see who their agent is. And then, of course, get
Yeah, I
Michael
do.
Larson's book, which you probably have, on how to write a book proposal.
I don't use his. I use Jane Friedman's, but
Okay, yeah, she's great. Yeah, and
yeah.
so
But have you had any experience with an author that you helped who went on to do it the traditional way?
no, because most of my people are self-publishing. They're not heading for a publisher. They want to get their book out there fast.
Yeah, I really am interested in the old-fashioned kind for a couple of reasons. One is I run a newspaper. I do not have time to promote
Right.
a book. And I still think that even though self-publishing is so much more robust and viable than it was even, well, 20 years ago,
Yeah.
I just, I am optimistic enough, maybe that's the way to put it, to think that my book will resonate.
I and the other part of that, Whitney, is that you're a professional writer, you're a journalist. So you have the chops to put together. This is not your first rodeo. So, if somebody was coming out, I have a gentleman, hello. Um, I have a gentleman that, I mean, bless his heart, he's writing a really good story, but his writing is, I feel like I'm reading a teenager's writing. Well, one, he's a guy. I can say that because there's no guys here. But you know, you're going to have, by the time you do your first draft, that thing's going to be pretty smooth, just because you can write in a way that you instinctively write well, because you've been doing it so long. You had to write things fast, you've been able to write things in depth. So I think for you, getting an agent, and you might have some contacts somewhere, that 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, that can get you to the right agent. So for most people, I'm like, okay, if you don't mind waiting a couple of years for your book to be out, if you don't mind rejections, if you don't mind having to shop for an agent, it's an uphill battle. And most of my people want to publish either quickly because it's a business book, or because they're just getting it out to their friends and family. But for you, getting a traditional publisher, I can see you getting a shot at that.
Okay, well, thanks. I just wondered if you'd had any connections or insights. I do have connections.
Yeah.
That's not really
Uh-huh.
my issue. I was just wondering if you had specific advice. I mean, honestly, I have I have a creative writing degree, which is the stupidest degree to get. Should have gotten a degree in marketing.
Thank you.
But I have a degree in this. And, I am a journalist. I've done this for almost 35 years. I wanted to join this group because I suspected people were not taking it so seriously like other writers do. And I find other writers the most annoying human
Genius.
beings. I really do. I ran a newsletter in Washington, D.C. for women writers. We had Pulitzer Prize winners, we had National Book Award winners, we had like Man Book, and they all took themselves so seriously. It was really boring. It was really boring.
Thank you, because I'm always worried that I'm like, oh God, I'm a little too goofy. I need to be serious for people. But it should be fun. Like the writing process should not be, oh my God, I'm going to drag myself to the chair. And oh my God, how deep are we? I'm honestly, I am
Yeah.
just not, I'm not deep. Um, often
Uh,
I'm just like,
I might have to disagree with her on that, only because I've known her most of her
well, I
life.
mean, I think a lot, but I don't do jack. So yeah,
I have a
more
question.
fun, Whitney.
I
Sure.
have a question,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
going back to what Whitney said about the serious writers, do you think that maybe the memoir writing, even though it's going to churn up maybe some tough memories for everybody, I think it is a little bit less, I don't want to say less serious, but I think you can have more fun with it. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? But I know what you're saying, Whitney, because I have friends who are, serious writers, and
very serious.
yeah,
They're
you can't joke
scholars.
around with them. But and
Yeah.
yeah, I've got a couple of exceptions of people who've written like biography, historical biography, and um, I have heard some pretty goofy things from them, but I think you're right. They take themselves so seriously, and it should be as hard as it is to write, and it is hard to write, from what my students tell me. Um, it should
But you
still be
share.
fun at the end of the day, right? It
Yeah.
should be fun, and you should enjoy
You should,
it.
you should, well, not,
I don't, I don't feel like I had a choice. This is really the best thing that I could do. I mean, I can sing, but I couldn't have. I'm not a professional singer. I wasn't built that way. I was built to do this. There are things I can do and there are things I cannot do. I kind of feel like this is what I had to do because this is what I was best at doing. I don't feel like I had fun at the end of the day necessarily, but if anybody were going to,
satisfaction's good. Like to feel
well,
satisfied at the end of the day is
Yeah,
not a
yeah, it
bad
can be
feeling.
that. It can be
that's
that. It
kind of
doesn't have to be like
yeah,
whoop-de-doo fun, but knowing that you're doing what you do best.
that's kind of where I was going with that. Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
So I
it's
don't
what
know
you
that at the end of
do.
the day, I feel like woohoo, I had the best day, but
Oh no, you're gonna have some crappy days, but it's
I
still
feel like
you're good at it.
Yeah.
there's gratification in the knowing that if somebody had to do it, you would be the one to do it, and then you did it. It's
Yeah,
just
Yeah,
exactly. And
yeah.
I don't know, it seems to me like whenever something needs to get done, I'm going to be the one doing it anyway. Like,
Mhm.
it was like, why aren't you married? It's like, because I got enough stuff to do for myself. I don't want to do it for somebody else. Like, I'm done. I am totally, this is probably why I'm still single. Um,
My son can explain it to both of us why we're single, by the way,
yeah,
in case you're wondering.
well, yeah,
Joe will take care of that for you, and it hurts.
he's good. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
good.
he
Yeah,
is.
and you just did a writer's retreat in
I
Italy
did.
for screenplays, right?
For screenplays, which yeah, and there were 16 of us who went to Ischia for
Mhm.
8 or 10 days. I don't remember, but we were locked in a castle with really good food and wine and
Oh,
trying
poor
to write
baby.
screenplays. Yeah, it was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But
Here you'd get like box wine and Twizzlers. Like,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, no, it was sweet, but it was good because what I'm working on is historical fiction. But everybody was working on it was such a great, diverse group of people. And it was so good to get other people's opinions when you were saying, well, this is what I'm working on. And you got those questions and Barbara does this to me all the time where she'll say, well, how do you know this? And I'm like, well, everybody knows that. And she'll go, no, princess, they don't. So, I have to dig a little deeper. That was such a good experience for me. Because I need to be pushed. I need to have somebody hold my feet to the fire, make sure I'm accountable. And I've never changed in all of my, I know, I'm sorry. I'm trying, but it is so good. And I'm still in touch um, with a lot of those people and in particular my mentor who she's pretty good.
Yeah.
She's
I'm
pretty
laughing because I've known Joan all my life. I'm 67 years old, and she came to stay with me after the retreat, and I'm trying to get her to do something.
good.
And then she stops. And she said, well, what
Sick.
about this? And what about this? And finally I went, oh my God, you have ADD or
I'm very
ADHD. I said,
ADD.
go to a doctor. But 40 years ago, we didn't know why she was like this. Sorry,
No,
Joan.
my mother, we didn't have ADD back then. And
No, they didn't
our mother
diagnose
would
it
just
back
say
then.
she has ants in her pants. That was the
That
official
was the
diagnosis.
diagnosis. Yeah.
So Barbara's still trying. And actually what she would do when she was trying to work is she would put something on the TV for me to distract me. And that's how she got her work done. But yeah, my problem is I have like 6 different projects going on in my head along with life.
Which is
And
why I'm not letting you start the
I know,
memoir yet. You have to
I
finish
know.
at least one of the Louisa projects. So
I've worked, it's right over here. It's right here. It's right here. So, and I am getting better, but it's because Barbara will hold me accountable. And I'm embarrassed that she's so much better than I am.
I'm not really. I just live alone. I don't have responsibilities. So,
Hello,
hello.
hello, I live alone.
Yes, but you also teach college and, all those things. So, yeah. Okay. So really
Anyway,
part of this for office hours is, do people have questions? And Whitney started out with a great one. Do y'all have questions for me or questions for the group? Because one of the really great things about people meeting and not having sticks up their butt about their writing is that you can get feedback from the group. So, anything at this point? Calliope?
Oh, hello.
Hello. Are you in Greece
Can
or
you
New
hear
York?
me?
I
Yeah,
can't.
no, I'm in Greece, and I know I don't have my camera on because I'm getting ready to go. I told you I was invited to a dinner. I am invited, so I have to run out the door, and I'm getting ready. But I'm listening,
Okay, good.
and I am really so glad to hear, people saying things that I could identify with a lot that was said there.
Good.
And
Okay.
especially the fact about, what somebody talked about the accountability that, if I don't have somebody to tell me this is the time to do it, then I just don't do
And
it.
and I've let you slide way too long, so it's time to get
Yes.
back in shape.
Yes.
So,
can we share like what we've written? I mean, could we get together on a regular, I don't know if you want to do that or
well, we're
not.
gonna do this every Friday, so
Oh, that's
um
cool. So could we
do you
share
mean
what
like a
we've
critique
done?
group?
Yeah.
Not my favorite thing, but if it's your favorite things, look at Jill. Jill like now. I
Okay, you don't
can't.
have to. It's very,
Okay.
I have a terrible time. Like when I was at the retreat for the screenplay, our little group, they actually read it out loud, and I'd never heard my words spoken
Oh,
out
oh,
loud,
really?
and it was
Wow.
terrifying.
Did
But
you
it's not
read it or did
because
somebody else read your words?
the other people in the group wrote, and
I see.
just pitching the idea was in front of 24 people because we had
Mhm.
um the mentors were all like producers and screenwriters. We had to
Right,
pitch our idea. It was maybe one of the most terrifying things I've ever had to do in my life. And I'm used to getting up in front of people. I
right.
mean, I
Yeah,
am. That's what I do for a living. I get up and talk to people. It was the most terrifying thing. But like a
yeah.
small group, it makes it a little bit easier. And it's nice to get that feedback. People go, it doesn't sound true.
Doesn't sound true. Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if
Well,
it is better, or if we could do like maybe once a month, we could do a,
maybe something like
we
that. Yeah.
all, we all like pass our papers to the right,
Yeah.
metaphorically.
I
And
know my kids hate when I do that at school.
it's hard for me because I'm a fast reader and I bet just about everybody in here is
Yeah.
it just brings me back to first grade when kids were sounding out words that were so simple. And like, okay, so in first grade, 6 years old, I'm a little snot, right? I'm like, can you believe this kid? It's like,
Yeah.
it's 2 syllables. It's not that tough.
Yeah. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
Not
And
that-
So for me, listening to other people read out loud is just, I can't listen to audiobooks. And other people love audiobooks.
Mhm.
And so, like, that's how they process. My friend Bobby, um, she listens to podcasts and books on tape all the time. And I'm like, I can't follow. I have to read it. And
Oh yeah, go off.
I think part of what I've been learning over the last 20 years is that everybody processes differently. And one of the big deals is that when you put out your book for public consumption, you really do have to think about, geez, can we do an audible version of this? Because people are looking for that these days. And really, it's about inclusivity, because all those kids who struggled with reading, that must have been as much hell for me as it was listening to those kids struggle. They must have been mortified and just feeling horrible having to read out loud and knowing they were going to stumble. And if a kid had a stutter or a speech impediment, it must have been just horrifying for them. So that's all I 12-year-old. Everybody hates their own voice. So like you just do. I don't know, Whitney, you can sing, so maybe you don't hate your own
You
voice.
could sing your manuscript to us, Whitney.
Um, no, I started my career in public radio, and I
You can
remember
do
the
the
first
voice,
time.
right? You can do the NPR.
Oh, remember, I think we talked about this. Yes.
Yes, we did. Can you do it for them?
Next up is Bruckner Symphony #2 is our next piece of work this afternoon. Leonard Bernstein leads the New York Philharmonic.
That is
Yeah,
so
my son calls that Velvet Mommy, which I said sounds like an old dancer. I would comment that you just get used to it. I mean, the first time I heard my voice recorded was 1988, I think.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, I'm a podcaster for, yeah. Um, I wanted to ask a question about format. The first, maybe this question gets answered eventually when you send the modules, but um, I am not, one of the things that scares me, and you did address this, but one of the things that scares me about writing this memoir is I really don't recall all the details of everything. And I know better than to believe this, but I still fear that that will make the voice of the narrator of the story, which will be me, but it'll make it seem less plausible, less trustworthy, because I can't remember all the details. So that's one thing.
Mhm.
But one way I was thinking to get around that was to not really make things chronological. And I didn't choose this, but the way that I tend to write and the best format for me, aside from being a reporter, is essay. I'm
Uh-huh.
really good at essay. I'm not especially good at the long arc. So I wondered about like a collection of essays based on specific memories I do have.
Uh-huh.
If you have thoughts about that kind of format.
And I like that format actually,
Okay.
because it is sometimes hard to get the chronology right, and you feel like when you're doing it in chronological order, it's like, oh, it has to be letter perfect. So doing a series of essays, and essays can build in an arc depending on what you're writing. So there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, my memoir is built from blog posts, but they were chronological for the most part. Um, but there's nothing wrong with that. And I was just doing keyword lookups for a woman who's got a collection of essays coming out, and they're popular. People are searching on them. And if your memoir is a collection of essays, if you're really, it doesn't have to be perfectly chronological, because what you're doing is you're taking your character, you, from where you were, going through this experience, and how you turned out, how it made you different, right? So the actual conversations don't have to be word for word. The actual order doesn't really have to be word for word, because what we're looking for overall is your transformation. And that's the important part to take away from the book for people, is how did she deal with this? What did she experience? How did she deal with it? What did she learn? How can that help me? And that's, to me, much more important than having it all in absolute correct order. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. And essays, I think, are a great way to go. The first the guy that I did his first book with was all he had like hundreds of blog posts. So all we did was he organized them into subsets, and we created a chronology from his blog posts going through the principles that he was teaching. So if you're writing essays, you don't have to necessarily be chronological, but they
Right.
might be themed, right?
Well, they're definitely themed. Yeah. I guess I don't read memoir unless they're rock and roll. I don't know why. I'm just really tuned into that. I read a lot of history. So
Yeah.
I really, well, I did read education. No, I listened to education.
Okay.
But if anybody knows of any memoir that they've seen or read that is more along that format of the essays, I'd be really grateful to be tuned into that because I have no clue.
And I'll keep an eye out for you.
Thanks.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. No, I think actually I think going essay would be easier, honestly.
That sounds really interesting. I really do. I
It
like
sounds like
that
more fun,
idea.
doesn't it?
I just really like, I love that idea. Can I
Yeah.
steal? I'm going to steal that from you.
I
Well,
kind of feel like I've read it before. Like, just I can't remember who it was. I know I have read a lot of nonfiction, creative nonfiction, but it's been a while. I really prefer to read history.
yeah. Oh, talk to her. I like Joan's an Alcott scholar, so she's
What?
she's a
Louisa.
Louisa May
Louisa,
Alcott. Yeah,
Louisa. Oh, and the rest of them too, but mostly Lou. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm Civil War.
I
Oh,
read.
we love the Civil War. Well, no, we should. I love the Civil War.
I can't wait for the next one. Really.
Well, whether
What's
you're
more
waiting for
fun
it or
than the
not, I think
Civil
it's coming.
War? What's more fun than the Civil War?
Yeah.
Oh, I can actually send you a couple of books I read about the Civil War that were pretty good.
If
Yeah,
she
well,
hasn't read them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So so that's one format, right? Essays, and you've got a transformation going on within the arc of the essays. Another way, and one of the nice, I like to go back to the hero's journey because people really resonate with that whole hero. And when I do business books with people, I say, okay, we're going to do a hero's journey on this, but you're not the hero. And they're like, what? I'm like, you are not Luke Skywalker, baby. Sorry, you're Yoda. You're like the gremlin in the cave. And I was like, but I want to be Luke Skywalker. I was like, no, no, no. Your reader is Luke Skywalker. So your reader gets to be the star in those books. But in a memoir, you're Luke Skywalker. So that's much more fun, right? Because who doesn't want to fly? And who doesn't want to be a Jedi Knight? Um, and who doesn't want to kiss Carrie? Like,
Yeah, I
really?
never wanted to kiss Carrie, oddly enough,
Kidding
but
me? She just
really?
rocked. She
Well,
rocked that
it
woman.
does, but I didn't need to kiss
Yeah,
her.
okay. Well, you didn't get to kiss Han Solo, so
Things I'm learning about my sister after 73 years. That's lovely.
there are certain people I would totally switch for. I like,
Really?
well, I'm saving it for my 80s.
Okay.
But but there are women I'm like, men are idiots. Men do not deserve this woman. I do not deserve this woman either, but she's hot. And I'm like really good at like I can go, she's hot. And I used to like with boyfriends, I go, she's really hot. And they're like,
Yeah,
you're not
yeah.
supposed to
Yeah, I
point
can
out
see
women
that.
to
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, women shop, right? Like we're looking
Yeah.
at the shoes, we're looking at the outfits. I shop. I don't touch, but I shop. But in my 80s, all bets are off because I'll be
Oh,
probably
yeah.
senile by then.
You do to 70.
No, it's too close. I'm a chicken.
Don't be a chicken.
I
You
am a
can do it.
chicken.
Do
Yes.
it. Do it.
Okay. Any other questions? Anything you want to bring up?
I don't know how to do the other because I'm still sitting here Zoomless. Well, I can see you guys, but I don't know
We
where
can
all the
see
little
you.
We can
chat
see
boxes
you.
are and stuff. But when we were talking about, do we say who abused us or do we bring up the bad points? I remember Anne Lamott one time saying, if people don't like what you write about them, they should have treated you better.
Isn't
And
that a fact?
I latched onto that because when my husband going through Alzheimer's, one of his sons was said, well, you brought this all on yourself. And I'm like, really?
Ooh.
And he just went on and on. And I want to put
Douche.
that in because that's part of the source of caregivers whoa is family members that don't get it. They only talk to him on the phone for 2 minutes and then they say, well, he seemed all right to
It
me.
seemed fine to
They pull
me.
it together. They pull it
Yeah, they
together
pull
in
it.
that short amount of time, and you're there all the time, 24/7. Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
it seems like they
Put it
pull it
in.
together for their sons better than they pull it together for their daughters.
Definitely. Definitely.
So, yeah,
Then-
he deserves to be named and shamed.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to do it.
When
That
do
might
we
be
not,
the-
though? When do we not?
Yeah, but you know what? It's because it's true. Everyone's like, well, what if he sues me? It's like, you're telling the truth. So, at that point, and he's not going to because he knows it's the truth.
Well, I still have all the emails he sent me.
Oh, there you
Oh,
go.
nice. Very nice.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
And that is something because I'm dealing with a friend now who he was always a little bit on the crazy side, but now we think some memory loss is coming in, and his kids really are not involved. And they're like, "Oh, we talked to him, he seemed fine." I'm like, "He's really not fine. Like
Yeah.
he hasn't been fine for a while, and now he's very frail, and like they still think of him as this robust guy because his voice is very strong. When you talk to him on the phone, you think he's standing up expounding on stage still, but he's like incredibly frail. And it's like I don't know how to explain to these kids that they need to go down and see him for themselves.
Yeah.
For a longer period of time.
Then 5 minutes, thank you.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, because they do pull themselves together. Yeah, I think people need to hear that. And there are funny stories too with
Right.
Oh,
dementia.
yeah. Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
tons of them. My mother had dementia towards the end. Towards
So much fun.
she was so funny.
She lived with me. So much fun. Really.
She was,
She
I
was so
mean,
much more fun when she had dementia. Seriously. I mean,
and here's the thing, because she couldn't remember what she had told you 5 minutes ago, but she still had a sense of humor.
oh, it's
And
great sense of humor.
And so she could still make jokes, she could still appreciate jokes. And I think that's an interesting component of the
Oh,
disease
yeah.
is that they can't remember who the hell you are, but they have that personality still. And that's
yeah.
really nice. Of course, when the personality changes, that's not so nice. So
No,
it's
we got lucky. We got
Yeah, we
lucky
did.
with our mother because she just got adorably cute and still flirting. I think when they loaded her into the ambulance for that last ride, flirting with the EMT.
flirty.
Because our brother's like, "Do you want me to ride with you?" And she went, "Oh no." Ouch, ouch, ouch.
She's
I
like,
think
I've
she had
got
a date
two
with the
handsome
guy later.
paramedics here.
She would have had she recovered, she would have had a date with the guy, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Pretty sure.
That
Yeah,
was Rita. That
she was
Rita.
she was something.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it is hard to put in the hard stuff. But I think
Yeah.
it's important to say it. I have which is not really a memoir thing, but I have a very good friend whose husband just passed away a few weeks ago. And they were married for well over 40 years, and he had some psychological problems. I think it was very, very, very tough. And so I'm the oldest widow in the group, so they always call me. And she called me one day. It was like a week and a half after he had passed away, and she said, "When does it stop hurting?" Well, I've been a widow for 21 years, and I said, "I'll let you know."
Yeah, really.
Yep.
And
Good
somebody
one.
called me out on it and said, "You shouldn't tell her that. You should tell her it's going to get easier." And I
It's
said,
not.
"But F you, it doesn't." I said, "It gets easier, but it's still there." I said,
Right.
the night before she happened to call me, I was curled up in a ball crying. And you can't see from my camera. My husband's right up there on the bookcase. There he is. He's up there. So yeah, I said, no, you have to tell the truth. You have
Yeah.
to tell the truth, I think.
And the thing is, everyone's memories are a version of the truth. It's like when
Right.
four people witness a car accident at an intersection and everyone's got a different perspective. And the whole idea of a memoir is that you are telling your truth,
Your truth.
your version of the truth. It's
Right.
what you saw and what you experienced. And that's people are sometimes hesitant. As Whitney says, I can't recall word for word, but that's okay because it's your version of the truth. And that's pretty much understood with any book you write, because even I mean, sometimes I'm writing a book and it's nonfiction, and I'm like making these, flat out statements of this is the way you do it, and then I'm looking going, is that the way you do it? Like, right? But and so then you kind of backtrack, go, this is what worked for me. Because it is, and it says you might find a different way to do it. Same thing with, I have to read to process information. Other people can listen. Other people can watch a video. So everyone's got the way that they learn. Everyone has the way they process things. Everybody has their version of the truth. And what's really fun is when somebody's version of the truth doesn't match up like to the other three people. And you're all like, oh, that's interesting. You got that out of that, huh? Like,
No,
it's kind of
we
fun.
could probably talk about, Barbara and I could talk about and some incident in our lives, and we'll have two really different versions of it.
There's a reason for that.
That being said, I'm pretty sure I'm right.
Exactly. She's so wrong. So, so yeah. Okay, cool. Anything else? Questions? Whatever about how it's all going to go down? Whitney?
No,
I
I
love
just
that
want
you
to let you
raised
know
your hand.
I gotta run.
Okay. Okay. I hope you're feeling better. Do you have like a summer cold going on? Or
Um,
allergies?
no, my voice, I don't know what's going on with my voice. It's just I'm losing it and it's really distressing because it's not laryngitis. I don't know. I need to go to the doctor. I wonder if I have a nodule or something.
Oh, it might be. Yeah. Go to the doctor, even though you're in the United States. And when you get over here, we have national health. So, just saying.
I'm not coming to Portugal, you know that.
I know, but you could visit, is all I'm saying.
I visit and have I'd visit what do they call it? Medical tourism. But I gotta run.
Yeah, okay. Good
By the
seeing
way,
you.
Jen is the quietest person we've ever had.
She's a badass. Don't underestimate
I know,
Jen.
but she's just taking it all in.
Yeah, I'm taking it all in, yes.
There you go.
Yeah,
She's the dangerous one, isn't she?
she's a dangerous one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm waffling between three businesses right now, so my brain's not entirely
Time.
here. I apologize. I'll
How's
try
your
to.
Substack going?
It's going pretty well. I just recently started writing again, as you saw.
Ah,
So,
good.
but I'm also launching this like career confidence coaching thing, and I don't know, I'm just kind of all I I'm burned out on my main project management consulting career, so I'm trying to find some other things, but project management pays so well, and I'm
I
just like,
know.
yeah.
It's hard
So,
to turn down the money, and like for me it's like really if I have one ghostwriting client a year, like a full ghostwriting thing, I don't really need to take on a whole lot after that.
oh
So
wow, yeah.
yeah. So and I think project management's a lot like that too. It's like you get the big contract, and yeah, it's going to take up time, but you know that the money's there and it's steady, and you can work on your other stuff too and feel like the bills are covered.
Yeah. So I have right now I have one that's halftime, which is perfect, but it's coming
Uh-huh.
to an end in end of
Oh,
October. So now I'm getting all nervous, right? Like so I'm like
right.
trying to spin some other things up as well, but they're not, not fast enough, right? We all know that it takes time. So
It all does. And it's that whole momentum thing and getting traction. And I think years and years ago, I wrote a blog post called Action, Traction, Momentum. I was so optimistic then. And but it's like, I mean, it's that slow start where you're just taking action, taking action, taking action. You're trying different things and well, let's do this and let's do this and let's do this. And you're kind of waiting for something to stick so you start getting a little bit of traction on it. And once you've got some traction, you can keep it moving. But a lot of times when you're thrusting around like that, you're looking for the thing that's going to catch. And I can tell you after 20 years in the business, it changes all the time.
yeah,
So
that's what it
yeah,
seems like.
Doesn't it?
I've never I get those we can put you on the front page of Google letters all the time from the spammers, and half the time they don't even have a website. Like I'll go check their website and it's like under construction or parked by GoDaddy. I'll be like,
Oh, right. Yeah, no, I don't
right.
I have a website, but it all my websites forward to Substack right now or LinkedIn,
That's
right?
not a
So
bad
I'm just
thing though, right? Because your Substack's up and running. So why not forward?
right. And then the
And
project management stuff, I point them at LinkedIn because they can see everything that I've done. So
yeah,
yeah, I mean, eventually I know I need more, but I don't know which direction to go. So
yeah,
I'm
and see
trying
what
them
sticks.
all.
And there's nothing wrong with that. My marketing guru buddy Tara says, she says if I'm going to try something, I'm going to try. She'll write like these epic blog posts that have 15 different things, and she does Pinterest pins for all of them.
Oh,
And so
wow.
she says, so, and she does like 10 Pinterest pins for everything. So she's got all these pins and she's scheduling them out. And she says, then I go back after a couple of weeks and I see which pins are getting the most likes and the most reshares and most whatevers. She says, and that's the one I'll go back and then I'll do another blog post on that. Right?
Yeah,
Because this is the one people are showing interest in. And if people
right.
really like that, then I'll write 3 more blog posts like that or about that topic. But she says, I will throw out 15 different topics at a time to find the 2 that people like. So you're not doing the wrong thing. You're just at the beginning of the throwing shit against the wall. Can we swear in
Basically.
here? Because
Oh, I
it's
hope so.
hard.
Just be throwing pasta against the wall, dear.
Oh, bam.
I'm not sure shit would stick or not stick the same way pasta does, but only way to
Also,
find
much
out.
harder to clean up.
Harder to clean up. Well, I don't know. Spaghetti sauce is hard to get out of everything.
Yeah.
Hey, that's if you have a puppy.
There you
That's why
go.
that's why we had dogs for so long. Oops.
Oops. Yeah, cleaning
Yeah,
the
take
floor.
care of that.
Yeah, my friends of mine just got a new German
Sorry,
Shepherd.
I have to leave. Bye-bye, but it's great.
Bye.
Hope to see you again. Okay.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We'll talk. Have fun
Bye-bye.
at dinner. Okay, ciao. She's an hour ahead of me in Greece.
Lovely.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
I'll have
she's
to look
lovely.
on.
Where is
Yeah.
she in Greece? Do you know? Somewhere in Greece.
No, she was in, I think, Athens, but she was looking to move outside the city. But she had lived in New York City for years and years and years, and just moved back to Greece
Wow.
last June, I think. So yeah, so she's
Nice.
been working on some stuff, and we're going to get her back into working. But
Good.
the moving like that takes up it's a big endeavor.
Huge.
Yeah.
Right, I'm sure.
Huge.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Moving across town is a huge endeavor.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if
But-
you move right, you can write a book.
That's right. That's right. You can get that done.
Yeah, and actually all of these,
Hold that up again. I haven't seen it all together.
well, here's all the
All the
mistakes.
notes.
Those are all
That's
typos.
lovely.
After
Oh,
I
Good job,
went
wow.
through it,
Barbara.
God knows how
Good
many
job,
times.
Babs.
A friend who's an editor put it through Perfect It, and she eyeballed it. And then I went through it again, and then we printed, and Patty Grassi went through it for me. And Patty Kelly, now, I'm sorry, she got
Maybe
married.
our favorite cousin out of the 250 of them.
No, Jeannie's my favorite because she bought 8 copies.
Oh, good.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly
I gotta
because
go too.
I still
Yeah.
can't do it.
Thanks, Barbara. Nice to meet
Thank you,
everybody.
Jen. See you next Friday,
you.
hopefully.
Yep.
And new module every 14 days. So you've got time. When the modules
Cool.
drop, you've got time. And then when we get to the actual writing, there's no way you're going to do it all in 2 weeks. So
Sure.
we'll talk about that when we get to it. Okay?
Awesome.
Cool.
Cool.
Okay,
Thanks,
cool.
Babs,
Bye.
do you have just okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So
lucky.
you are signed up. The module should be there for you. And if you have any questions, just let me know. And I'm around.
I think it sounds really interesting, and I think it's something that people will connect with. I mean, everybody's going through that with some relative, but if you've been the caretaker, the caregiver, it will really resonate with people.
Yeah.
It's
You